Hi everyone, this is James here from Metro Hobbies, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at something pretty special, something that I'm quite excited to showcase. We've got here the actuator for the Tamiya tow truck that's been out for a little while. Now we're not just going to be looking at that, we're going to be looking at the really heavy, bulky truck itself. So as I said, this guy has been out for a little while now, but I thought I'd just make a video unboxing it, showing what you get inside the box and what this truck has to offer. So without any further ado, let's dig into it and see what we've got in here. Alrighty, so once we get the lid off, we are greeted with this really nice box art here. Just showing you a little bit of what this truck has to offer with all the storages and things like that. So it's some nice box art just to sort of give you a little entry when you open the box up. Now this is actually a compartment for a couple of pieces as well. So if I take this guy out, you can then see we've got really nice packaging. We got the manual there, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But first I'll start off with this guy. So if we take that off, we've got a lot of the larger components of the bodywork. So we've got the side bits on the rear of the truck itself, and then just a lot of the internal components and structural components, as well as the nice aluminium chassis rails that Tamiya always include. Really high quality. These are really good. They use these through pretty much all of their truck lineups, which are really good and nice and strong. So that out of the way, we'll now move on to some more components within the box here. In the middle, first of all, we are greeted with the main body panel components. So we've got the cab itself here. Quite nice detail, as always with Tamiya. Tamiya are known for having really nice detail with their bodywork and their moldings. So that's the main cab section itself. And then we've also got obviously the roof piece and a bunch of the rims, for example, and just a lot of bits and bobs, a lot of the underside chrome pieces for bodywork, body panels and things like that. So that's just a lot of the external and some internal body pieces that this RC kit has to offer. And when I say RC, this is of course a fully remote control vehicle with a lot of functions and a lot of features. So now we will take a look inside what this box has. Once again, just a lot more components. This has a lot more gearing based components for the 3-speed gearbox that this truck and most of Tamiya's trucks have to offer. So you've got all the gears to go in the gearboxes, as well as a lot of suspension components. But yeah, mainly gearboxes, axles, differentials like those guys and things like that. So it's definitely not a beginner's kit. There are a lot of pieces in this kit, and you definitely need some past experience with building, whether it's just a Tamiya hotshot or any Tamiya basic entry-level RC vehicle, just to get you used to how it all works before you tackle something like the huge 14 scale trucks. So now we look in this box here. Once again, a lot more body panels. So we've got some of the skirting, some of the sides of the rear of it as well. Then what we got here is the 2 rails for the big tow boom that comes out of the back. Really nice quality metal, quite bulky as well. If you felt the weight of this box, you'd see what I'm talking about, because this thing is really high quality and they use really great parts. We've got a lot of clear pieces, of course, as well. So that is that box out of the way. Pretty much halfway through it. Still a lot to go. So we'll look at the instruction manual in a moment. This box here is where most of the weight is at. So if we open this up, you'll see we've got, first of all the tires, really nice quality tires. Tamiya's tires are actually really nice finish for their trucks. Then we've got a motor here and a lot of heavy, bulky aluminium parts. You can see how thick that is. This bag weighs a ton. So this has a lot of the components for the movement of the boom and all the mechanical moving components. Really strong, really high quality material, which obviously it needs to be. If you're going to be pulling other 14th scale trucks and heavy loads with this tow truck, then you'd need everything to be quite strong and quite durable and sturdy. Then we've got all of the small screws and parts bags, which are always labeled in the A, B, C, D, etc. categorized, which makes it really nice and easy once you do end up building the truck. If you put them all in individual cups and you know exactly where each screw is, it's a great system that Tamiya use. Got your main center dog bone, drive shaft as well, pretty nice quality as well. And then in here, you can see there we've got some of the grill pieces, which are all cut out and actually quite nice detail on that, which is really nice. And then finally some more tires as well. So that quickly goes through all of the parts. Nope, never mind. There's actually still another box left again. So I'll put him aside. And we've got the last components here. Mainly just the windows, some clear pieces, and some other bits and bobs for the interior and things like that as well. So now that there goes through all of the parts and components. So now we've got the instruction manuals to go through, and there's also the decal sheet laying taped down to the bottom of the box here as well, which you can see if I fold it up a little bit there. Obviously it has all the liveries and decals that you can put all over this truck. So now let's take a look at the instruction manual, because this is where Tamiya shine. The ease that they make for these vehicles and any of their kits. If you've ever built a Tamiya, even just a 24 scale car kit, you'll know how high quality their instructions are and how easy they are to follow. So in here first we're greeted with a gear grate. So this is to go on your transmitter to work the 3-speed gearbox. So if you wanted to learn a little bit more about this, you can check out the video I've made on the Shell livery Grand Hauler, which is also on the YouTube channel. But this makes it really fun and really easy to be able to shift gears while using the truck, because of course it does have an actual working 3-speed gearbox. Also includes an antenna tube, which is good, just to protect your antenna if you do have an antenna on your receiver that you end up using. Now we have the decal guide for where all of the decals go over the vehicle if you do choose to follow this livery, which is always handy. So that's the example there of how the gear grate works for your gear shifting. And then a couple of other bits and bobs. This is a completely separate manual purely for all of the part codes and part numbers. Now, most people overlook this. This is actually extremely, extremely handy and useful. The reason it is, and it's the same in the manual as well, is for all of the screws, hardware, all of the gears and all the smaller components, excluding any of the sprue work. This is all to the actual 1-to-1 size of the screws themselves. So if you're not sure whether a screw, if you're looking at the screw and you don't know whether it's too long or too short, you can actually line it up next to the illustration on either the instruction manual where it shows you the screw or in this parts diagram, so that you can actually see whether you are using the right screw or whether you've accidentally gotten one too short, etc. So that you're always using the right components. Same for gearing, to make sure you got the right amount of teeth and you're not mixing the gears up. So it makes it a really easy, good system to follow to make sure you're not putting any screws or any parts where they shouldn't be. Now we get brought to the main manual. This is one of the thickest instruction manuals I have ever seen. A ridiculous amount of pages in here. So as always with Tamiya, they give a little introduction, some tools that they recommend using, as well as the radio equipment that you do need to get separately, because the truck doesn't come with much electrics at all. So you do require transmitter, servos, battery charger, all those things extra, which to learn more about that, as I said in the Grand Hauler video of the Shell truck, I explained that quite in a lot more detail. And then we start having a look at the actual construction process in general. So the way the chassis goes together and the way the suspension and the differentials and steering and all of that works is quite similar to all of the other Tamiya trucks, like the Grand Haulers, King Haulers, or the Euro trucks. Quite similar to how all they go together, especially the gearbox as well, which we see here is pretty much the same gearbox that they use in all of their trucks. So this is all quite familiar. But as you get deeper and deeper into the manual, you start seeing all these different things that you would have never seen before in Tamiya trucks, which is all to get the mechanism of the boom working. So it's a really interesting truck if you want to try something different, like all your tow winches, and it's a completely different building experience. Once you get the base of the chassis and you start working up and building up all of the tow truck material, then as I said, it's a completely different experience, and really makes it enjoyable to build as it's not sort of repetitive and doing the same thing over and over again. So once again, Tamiya have absolutely nailed it with their instruction manual, made it really easy to follow, really good, easy to understand diagrams and instructions on how to follow that. Now, what we also have here is the Electric Actuator Set. So as you can see on the front here, it has a big bulky actuator, and this is to get the tow beam to go up and down essentially. So obviously you're going to need a lot of power to get that up and down with the amount of weight that is going to be in the beam itself. So Tamiya offer this aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but separate actuator kit that you do need to purchase separately to the truck, that has the actuator as well as the switches and all the necessary wiring to then hook into the rest of the truck. So you're greeted with the actual actuator itself in here. And then within this box, you've also got a lot of the hardware, and this tube is extremely heavy. So once again, really bulky, really good material, and all your control boards and things like that. And then, as they do with their multi-function units, which I'll explain a bit in a moment, their instruction manual for the actuator integrates with the instruction manual of the truck. So they will correlate to each other and they will blend in with each other. So it's not like two separate components. They sort of blend in together to help you transfer this kit and build this actuator set and then transfer it to put it in the vehicle itself. So that's the actuator as it is there. And then, of course, with all Tamiya trucks, you can get the multi-function unit. So for this particular truck, which is the tow truck, which is a Volvo, so a European truck, you would want to get the European version of the multifunction unit. So in the multifunction unit video that I made recently, that was for the American version of the trucks, which the sound of the truck and a couple of the functions are slightly different. But for this thing, you'd ideally want the European version to be a bit more accurate to its real-life counterpart. So, as I explained in that video, the multifunction unit offers lights, sounds, vibrations, a whole bunch of features, extra features that you can use with your transmitter to control the truck. And I would 100% recommend getting it, especially if you're spending this much money on the truck and the actuator unit. You definitely want to get the multifunction unit to be able to get all those features and make it really top-notch and amazing. So that pretty much wraps it up. Just a quick video today, just going over everything that's included in the box, just if you wanted to have a look and see what the quality and what the build looks like roughly. So it's very different to any of the trucks Tamiya have made in the past, and it's honestly very exciting. I was contemplating getting one myself. But yeah, if you're wanting to experience something a little bit different, or you just wanting to get into the trucks in building in general, then this is definitely a great one to go for. So with that all pretty much said and done, I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the Grand Hauler and the multifunction unit video if you want to get a little bit better of a deeper understanding of how these trucks work and what's involved in building them. But with that all said and done, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.